Good bright and early morning, YouTube. Thanks for tuning back into the channel today, right here with me, the Rustbelt Mechanic. So, today we're going to be doing a little bit of diesel work. I know I've been kind of falling behind, especially when it comes to the old Duramax, but we've fallen into some really good deals, and I got some really cool parts to be able to put onto this thing. You see here we've got some HPE high flow manifolds, and we've got some 2-inch up pipes. Full stainless for those, so it's going to get the thing breathing better. I've also got a nice MBRP downpipe to be putting on it as well. And I know everybody says, boy, that's just like the worst job in the world, because she's stock. She don't have nothing done to her, nothing at all. So we're going to see how long it actually takes me to do it. You know, I'm day-to-day mechanic. I do it every single day, but I've never done it on a Duramax. Everybody else on the internet says, boy, you'll have 7 hours tied up in that thing. It's like the worst job in the world to do. I kind of doubt it, but you know what? We're going to find out, and we're also going to be talking some of the tunes, because I got the thing tuned the other day to be able to handle these parts ahead of time. So we'll see what happens. Keep watching. So just as I'm kind of working up here, I was going to go over a couple of other things with you guys. I'm pulling off the air box and stuff up here because I am going to be doing a full delete. I'm going to be deleting the EGR valve off of this because, you know, who wants all that sooty EGR gases put back into your intake and, you know, taking down performance, taking down fuel mileage. It's just not a real great thing for you. So yesterday I went to the place that I actually went to before for help with some of my lift kit stuff over at Xtreme DIesel and Off-Road Performance over in Fairborn, Ohio. Chris, the guy that runs it, he's a really cool guy, and he knows his stuff when it comes to tuning and just in general everything diesel. So we wanted to get the tunes done ahead of time. It was just kind of a time restraint kind of thing. We got it all, we got it into his shop there, and we got to talking about it, and I really wanted some more in-depth detail about tunes and, you know, really what it was, because everybody on the internet, they're all fighting and clamoring over who's got the best tunes, who's got the crappy tunes, and I don't want that crap in my truck, but they really don't know much of anything about it. So we got to talking about it and really what it is to get a tune in your truck. We're going to be talking mainly about EFI Live, because that's generally what everybody uses for it. So EFI Live is a computer-based, I guess we're just going to put it as a software system that helps tuners and everybody to adapt and install things to the ECU of the vehicle. They don't actually make tunes themselves, but they have the software that helps to install it. So when you deal with EFI Live, you have to have a kind of a software title for it. So to be able to use their VIN number and tell them, they keep a database of every single vehicle that gets tuned through EFI Live. You have to turn in your VIN number to them, and they charge a fee for that. So when these guys are charging big numbers for some of their tunes, you know, $400, $600, $800 for tunes, right off the bat, I think $25, $130 goes right to EFI Live. So yeah, right off the bat, they're getting that money, and then your tuner, depending on who you go through tunes, if you go through a bigger company like Corey Willis, you go through Idaho Rob, who's not really in the business anymore, or Diesel Performance Tuners, stuff like that. They're bigger companies, so they've got customer support that they have to have. They've got telephone guys. They've got in general guys who did all of the tuning testing. They've got dynos, advertising. So you've got big money into having to have the tuning capabilities for that company and to advertise it and everything else. But that's why I kind of like the little guys. The little guys, it's really not any different, these things. It's a mixture of air fuel ratio, turbo boost pressure, the pressure for the fuel rail, the rail pressure and everything. So you got little tweaks here and there, but it's not really too horribly different. I'm not going to say it's not different at all, but because it is. Yeah, it is. But when they get to in-depth tuning, these little guys, they don't have all that extra overhead, and also you guys are going to get a better deal when it comes to tuning from the little guys. Then one of the other reasons I ended up going with a local guy over, one of the big box name companies is, the government, they're being a lot more stringent and they're cracking down when it comes to some of this tuning. Yeah, it's against EPA regulations, blah, blah, blah. But man, some of these trucks, they're like, 15 years old. And you're talking about cracking down on the regulations on tuning these, and there ain't hardly any of them out there. So yeah, the environment, this and that. A lot of guys are stupid, put dumb tunes that, make them smoke like nobody's business, and it's kind of stupid there. But when you're talking about the government, they're going to go after them big fish. And we've already seen that with the likes of like Idaho Rob, where the government's cracking down and they put the guys pretty much out of business for, tuning these vehicles and doing deletes and, that kind of crap. But the little guys, they're not really in the crosshairs. They don't really want to go after those. So I think I like those better. Plus, they're more likely to be local, respond to, any kind of issues that I have. If you got tire size that you need reprogrammed after adding something or adding a couple little parts, they're usually just generally easier to work with and talk about. So I like that as well. And kind of as I'm going blabbing here, what I am doing is I'm getting all my intake stuff off to get it out of the way, get down to the turbo, and I'm going to be deleting the EGR and the EGR cooler, so that makes a whole lot of more room too. I'm for now going to be reusing the stock intake elbow, the air setup, and that's just because I really want something a little bit more custom, and I got to do some more thinking about what I really want. And then from what I've heard, the standard LBZ intakes, elbow, and everything are able to handle upwards of like 500 horse. So just right off that, I don't have dyno numbers to back that up or anything, but from what I've heard, they're pretty stout. So I'm going to be reusing a lot of the air inlet stuff, which is kind of what I got off right here, the intake elbow that goes down into the turbo. Yeah, definitely going to reuse that one. And do a couple other little changes here. There's going to be I think I've got an MBRP block off for the bottom of the air inlet because I'm going to be reusing the cold side. Like I said, for now, I'll be doing some piping and stuff like that later. And then I've got the up pipes, like I said, the 2-inch up pipes and the MBRP down pipe as well. So doing into some more work here, guys. Less chatting, more working. All right, so I wanted to get a nice up-close shot of this one for you guys. We'll see if we get her all to focus here, but this is the reason why I am getting rid of all the EGR. You see how nasty this stuff is put into this? This is absolutely outrageous. This vehicle only has 100,000 miles on it and has been religiously taken care of. Cleaning's done to it. Kind of ridiculous for it. So having all of this extra soot compound crap put into there, it's just absolutely insane. So that's why we are getting rid of all the EGR crap and getting a much cleaner air inlet for the engine. So I've been working at it for about an hour and a half now, ish, right around there. And I just got the down pipe out. So, have a look here. That's your down pipe. So, we got that thing all out of place. I'm not going to go into super detail about that one just because there's so many other videos out there that are already going into great detail on that one. A couple of hints, I guess, for you. Make sure you have a long 10mm ratchet wrench for getting the heat shield nuts out. That's a big thing to help you right there. Some other good ratchet wrenches for like your 14 and stuff to get the dipstick for the trans loose, which you need to make sure you do. Give yourself an extra little bit of wiggle room, and eventually everything will come out. Yeah, you're not going to want to reuse those heat shields, so just bend them and taking them up out of the top. Usually it's pretty good practice for that one, but it will come loose. Just work hard at it, buddy. Alright, so next we're going to be working at getting our down pipes and manifolds out. As you can see with the, the up pipes and manifolds. With the down pipe out, you've got tons of room to get to your bolts here for your up pipes. Don't think I'm going to have a whole lot of issues with this one just because, like I said before when I did the glow plugs, this is a California truck. I kind of soaked this thing down ahead of time with some PB Blast just to make sure some of the things will come loose a little bit simpler. So we're going to get the up pipes loose. Those are a 12mm 12-point 3-bolt flange on the bottom, 3-bolt flange on the top on both sides. So now on the driver's side one, you can see up in here we've got the pipe that goes from right here and goes on up there. The heat shield's kind of a pain in the butt. You got 110 there, 110 there, and another one is tucked way up in here. So one of the necessary things you guys are going to want to have, like I said earlier, is this ratcheting 10mm wrench, like the ones I showed on a previous Nifty Tools. You got to have one of those for doing this. Once you get all those 10mm bolts taken out from the driver's side one, that driver's side heat shield will actually be coming out the passenger side. So there's the heat shield chunk. And then I don't know, we'll get to see up in here, but we can see our bolts for our driver's side tubes will actually be accessing from here as well. We'll get those from the passenger side. Well, I know I'm going to catch quite a bit of hell for this one, but we had just a little bit of camera malfunction and actually a whole lot of hardware malfunction on day one. So we're actually in day number 2 right now, and we kind of are just back here doing a little bit of adjustment because we ended up having a boost leak afterwards. But a big heads up to you guys, if you guys end up getting these things brand new, a lot of the hardware is going to come with them. If you don't get them brand new, secondhand, kind of like I did, all the factory hardware will not work with performance manifolds, the up pipe, so you're going to have the specialty hardware. We had to run all over creation to try to find the smaller head bolts that were the correct thread and pitch diameter. So that was a whole 3-4 hour ordeal, kind of sucked in there. We ended up having a whole backlog of issues with it, but we finally did get everything put into place. We didn't really run it. If we had all the correct hardware, I would rather say that this job would have actually gone pretty darn nice. We probably would have been done in and out in under 4 or 5 hours or so. But since we did run into some issues, that's just my luck of things. But let's have a look underneath and we'll see what we can see from underneath at least. In here under the driver's side, you can see the up pipes. They are put in. They are the nice 2-inch full up pipes from PPE. And then the headers that we ended up getting are ProFab, I believe. Yep, ProFab. The race style headers, or the high flow headers, I should say. Got new gaskets to go on there, and more of those 12mm 12-point bolts are kind of in there. They were fun to use, but I don't know if you guys can see any of the bolts on the bottom side, but there is that coolant bracket that goes between underneath the header on the driver's side. That one especially had a real issue with getting hardware that would actually fit in under there. It was kind of a bear to do. And then on this side, it's, got a little bit more room. You can see we ended up finding hardware that was really easy. Those headers, they look really nice. And then we ended up going with an MBRP downpipe too, with it is pre-wrapped. it's inside of there as well. We had to do a little bit of mending to that one just because we had an issue with the down pipe hitting the up pipe on the passenger side. So we didn't want to have that happen, but all in all, I'm really happy with the parts that we got once we finally got hardware that would work. And we'll have a look on what we did on the top side as well. Then we have a look here on top and see what we did. As you can see, we deleted our air heater grid, got rid of that, put in an XDP block plate onto that one, and then we also used the XDP block plate for the EGR. We deleted our EGR valve, the EGR cooler, have all kinds of room down in here in this area, and then here in the back you can see the MBRP downpipe, 3-inch downpipe there on the back as well. It was kind of fun, you know, kind of getting that one into place. Really wasn't all that bad. Once you loosen up that trans dipstick line, you've got quite a bit of room to be able to work with. And I would also definitely recommend to have a helper here with you as well, because you're going to be going up and down and up and down. And if you got a lifted truck like mine, then kind of getting in there and back and forth is just a little bit more of a pain in the butt. So the unused wires that we don't use anymore, we filled those with dielectric grease, taped them up. I didn't really want to chop back the harness or anything for the air grid and the unused sensors and the unused plug for the EGR valve as well. They're all taped up, put back into place, so we don't have to worry about that one anymore. All in all, it ended up taking right around 10 hours thanks to the lack of hardware and having to run around God's green earth trying to find everything we need. But I think the smiles on this one are definitely going to outweigh the woes that we had to go through. Let's go give this thing a little bit of run and see how she feels. Now, is that some fun stuff or what? Dude, this Duramax is absolutely amazing. I wouldn't trade this thing in for the world. It's my baby, and doing things like this just makes it that much better. Well, that's about all I've got for you guys today. If you have any questions or anything about the Duramax of the build that we've got going on, make sure you leave some comments down below. Let's see what you guys think about what we've done today. We've got the Ricer boy in the background going all riceroni on us. But make sure you hit that thumbs up, make sure you turn on that bell notification, get notified when we come out with more awesome content like this one. We've got lots more coming your way. Make sure you guys stay tuned, and as always, you guys stay awesome.